I know you've probably seen this title a million times, but this is not the typical sales guru tips that you see on YouTube. I'll cover the truth behind the psychology of selling, which is not the typical stuff that you see on these guys' videos.
We're celebrating our $10 million rings. We'll get a little pound right here.
Most universities in the United States have studied my YouTube video.
I've been in this sales space now for about 30 years.
Basically, selling is just communicating. That's it. Do you learn how to recommend your friend to a restaurant that you've been or a gym? It's not difficult to recommend your friend something unless you don't like it. You don't like the product, you don't like using them, you don't find any benefit from using them, or there are a lot of other alternatives that you can use that is at a very much cheaper price. But before that, I would just like to say that I was absolutely horrible in sales in the past, and even convincing people for that matter. I had zero confidence when it came to pitching, to talking, and the reason to that is because I memorized. And that is the biggest problem. I tried learning from all those sales gurus. I tried pitching to myself in the mirror, memorizing those pitches, learning how to read body languages. I made it into one big strategy that I had to plan and execute, which is completely wrong. Stop this cycle. Back to the first point. Always remember, sales is just communicating. Don't get so worked up on it. You just need to treat selling like recommending. I know, you might be thinking like, who doesn't know that? Surprisingly, most beginners and even some experts don't. A lot of people out there are trying to find strategies to push the product to their customer with upselling, cross-selling, and any kind of selling for that matter. And they package their program in a very, very cool term. And you would think like, oh wow, that is the secret. There is no secret. Because if it's complicated, it'll be way too much for you to process, and it is not effective. And you might say treating selling as recommending is easier said than done. Well, this leads me to my next point. Imagine you're at a cafe, you order a slice of cake. The minute you take a bite, you feel that it's dry, flavorless, and not very pleasant. Are you going to ask anyone to try their cake? The answer is pretty obvious, but this is the perfect example for you to relate. So therefore, my second point is re-evaluate your product. Take a step back and really look at your product with no biases whatsoever, or even ask the people around you for opinions. In this day and age when it is so easy to purchase or compare products, you're going to have a very tough time if you don't evaluate the fundamentals of your products. Questions you have to ask yourself is, will I use these products if I'm not selling them? What solutions does my product solve? Is my product's price reasonable compared to my competitors? Yes, evaluating your product's price is crucial. Because if the price of your product is on the high end, then you need some justifications for it. You need to justify why is your product priced so high in comparison with the products in the market that is priced even lower but serve the same benefits or purpose. If you have done this evaluation and you found out that my product is not so good after all, then you should probably take that step to change the product or even the company for that matter. Because if you don't, you'll be digging a hole for yourself, and once you dig it too deep, you won't be able to come out. I know it from personal experience. I've been there, done that, and trust me, it's much easier to get out earlier than later. It's just like a problem you have. You don't want to sweep it under the rug. You want to solve it immediately, because the longer you keep it and the longer it accumulates, it is going to come back and haunt you. So now that you have understood that selling is basically communicating and you have re-evaluated your product, let's take a look at point number 3, the ability to come up with conversations fast. Now, practice makes perfect, but I have a simple tip that you can use to improve this communication skill extremely fast. Ask questions. You've probably heard this before, but not in the way that I'm going to explain it. Don't be afraid to ask questions, even the difficult ones. And sometimes, it's good to ask questions that are random. You want to ask random questions so that you can catch your customer off guard, but not too random to a point where it sounds a bit creepy. If I'm talking to my friend from high school and I'm planning to sell him an insurance plan, most people will open their pitch with, "Bro, do you have insurance? Bro, have you done your financial planning?" And worst of all is, "Bro, do you want to buy insurance?" Or, "Bro, buy insurance plan for me. Help me out, bro. Support me a bit." You have to expand your creativity. You gotta ask questions like, do you invest? Have you started investing? Have you tried investing before? What do you work as now? Do you pay taxes? Do you save any money from month to month? Have you ever thought of starting a business? Do you have a girlfriend right now? Some of these questions you might find it irrelevant, but this is how far you can push your creativity. Now you might think, what does asking him whether or not he wants to start a business have to do with anything? It's actually for you to evaluate whether he has a worker mentality or an entrepreneurial mentality, because that gives you an understanding of what kind of person you're talking to. Knowing this gives you two advantages. One is you can explain how an insurance plan is tied up with the investment, how insurance can actually block your unexpected losses, and the investment part can generate good returns for you to build up your capital for your business. What I mean by unexpected losses are those like medical bills, hospitalizations. When anything happens to you, at least you don't have to spend out a chunk of money on them. And the investment side, it'll just force save your money, because when you have a lot of money in your bank, what are you going to do with it? What are you going to do with it? You're going to spend it all. And these are two solid reasons why asking him this question is very important, because if that guy is our age, more often than not, they are going to choose the entrepreneurial mentality. And you might also ask, what does asking him if he has a girlfriend have to do with anything? There are a lot of good follow-up questions you can ask with that, such as, how's your relationship with her? Are you going to get married anytime soon? Are you planning on having kids? All this information you can build up to get an understanding on your client. Then you can link to how your product can solve their problems. See, that's the difference between my points and other sales gurus. Number 4. Now this is an important one, so listen closely. This not only helps with your selling skill, but this will actually help you with teaching, gaining popularity, improve the way people look at you, and also understanding human behavior much better. Before we continue, this might sound a bit cringy and annoying, but I really want to get my message out to more people. And how do I do that? Is by you liking this video for the YouTube algorithm, and also subscribing and turning on the notification bells so that you can be the first to watch my upcoming videos. If you're a millennial and you love investing or even starting a business, then you should subscribe right now and check out my other videos down in the description box. Those videos, I talk about how you can make a huge profit from next year's recession or hype, and I talk about the different income flows that you can generate for yourself. Link is in the description and also in the end screen. Click on the I button up there. If there's any. Is there any? Is there any I button? Okay, back to point number 4. Exaggerate. No, I don't mean exaggerating your product, because that is technically scamming and lying. Not exaggerating about the products, but exaggerating about their current and future problems that they have or will have. Let me explain. Take for example, you're selling a meal replacement supplement. Instead of telling the person the boring stuff like, this will solve your problem by cutting down the calories that you take and also reduce the time that you take to buy food. No, exaggerate the problem like this. Counting calories is a lot of work and nobody likes doing it. And it's almost impossible to do it in the long term. Not only do you have to waste time grocery shopping, weighing your food, recording them, typing it out in MyFitnessPal, cook your food, and then pack them, but you also have to eat your food while everyone is eating at the restaurant, which can be quite awkward at times. I personally used to do this a lot back then, but then I really found out that it's really wasting too much of my time. But ever since I tried this product, I not only save so much of my time, but all those awkward conversations with my friend, because I don't have to eat my food in front of them, just a drink, and that's it. That is what you call a pitch. Last but not least, the secret that we've all been waiting for. This made me jump from an intermediate closer to an advanced and expert closer. And honestly, it makes selling so much more enjoyable. Learn more things, hobbies, skills, languages. Just keep learning. What does that have anything to do with selling? It has everything to do with selling. The more things you know, the easier it is to link up and relate to your prospects. And it's so much easier to create a deep bond with your prospect. When I started doing this, I instantly became like a Casanova. And not just because I knew more things, but because I can relate and bond with so many different types of people. That's it, that's all for today's video. Here, we only talk about in-depth, detailed things. This video was made brief, but do comment down below what is the biggest obstacle you have while selling. And I might use that topic to cover my next couple of videos. And with that said, thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you guys next time.